This is going to be a particularly non-advertiser friendly video. Also spoiler warning, I guess. I don't need to explain what South Park is to you, you already know. Even if you haven't seen anything from it, you at least have heard of it. It's one of those shows that's left an impact for generations and pushed the boundaries of adult animation. Regardless of if you like or dislike South Park, its impact on TV can't be understated. It's only fitting then that, come the creation of the first, and today only, South Park feature film, the movie industry wasn't prepared for the approach of breaking boundaries that Trey Parker and Matt Stone brought to the medium. They can do all their crassness on TV, but that won't fly by us, the MPAA said, as a monolithic entity, I suppose. And there was one joke in particular that the creators weren't willing to compromise on. In their own words, this is the one joke we really want to fight for. So what was the joke? We'll get to that. I need higher attention stats according to YouTube. Let's talk about the released movie first. South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut is a 1999 musical, yes, you heard me right, about how the overreaction to uncensored content and the ensuing moral panic leads to an all-out war between the United States and Canada. Also, Saddam Hussein wants to use the ensuing chaos to rise from hell with Satan, who is also his lover. I wonder if the movie is trying to say something. The blatant teardowns of the overprotective and hyperbolic statements about violent or profanity-ridden content leading directly into moral turpitude are as clear as they are funny. Wow, that sentence was so fucking wordy. I'm sorry, I really don't mean to be so pretentious. It just kinda happened. But did you know that the title is a lie? Kind of. You see, in some ways, the movie was indeed cut. When the MPAA had a look at the first version of the film for review, they were floored, and they gave it an NC-17 rating. Now, in the UK, our age ratings for movies are simpler and a lot better. We even have a 15 rating for movies that are kind of between a PG-13 and a rated R. But America is weird, as America can be sometimes. The MPAA's most extreme classification is NC-17, formerly referred to by a more appropriate name, X. I say more appropriate because it was basically just for porn films. Ever wonder why porn is sometimes called X-rated? No, me either, and I don't even know how I know that. Haha. This led to a huge amount of back and forth between the MPAA and Paramount, the company producing the movie in America. Internationally, Warner Brothers handled that, but Paramount was launching the film in the States. These back and forths weren't just adjusted screenings, but actual memos. And some of these memo notes are just the best. You can hear the whole thing at the end of the video. But Parker and Stone weren't prepared to compromise too much on their art. They made some sacrifices, sure, but they weren't willing to dull their creation down. This was their big chance to say something on a stage that they just didn't have on the small screen, and they weren't gonna squander it. But they, in their own words, needed an R rating. No company would want to be so publicly associated with a movie rated like a porno. How are you going to try and produce Rugrats in Paris? So they made some cuts and appealed for an R. And the MPAA rejected it. So they made some more and tried again. And the MPAA rejected it. This went on 6 times. Seriously, both stood their ground so firmly that this was an ongoing thing as late as 2 weeks before the movie was releasing. People had already pre-ordered tickets, and they had no idea if they were even going to be able to watch it. In case you were wondering, most other places just gave the movie a teenager-friendly rating. The UK coming in at 15. Shout out to the BBFC, I guess. Parker was not quiet about the beef, by the way. In one interview, he stated,
"The ratings board only cared about the dirty words. They're so confused and arbitrary. They don't blink twice because of violence. They had a problem with words, not bullets."
That last line is in reference to a moment that Parker notes specifically, where the MPAA raised concern over a swear word, but not the soldiers being gunned down in the same scene. It says a lot when a society is so hypersensitive to one aspect of art at a seemingly arbitrary level. But sometimes they have a point.
You may have heard that the game fell victim to the censorship hammer here, entangled in the petticoats of the nanny state Australia, that several scenes were replaced with a text description under a picture of a crying koala. Yes, very funny joke, fuck the man and all that. But the funny thing is, after the 4th or 5th time, I kinda lost sympathy for the creators. You know what, I thought, from your description that does sound pretty fucking stupid and I'm kinda glad I was spared it. You just bang that shock humor glockenspiel until you're ready to continue. I'll just be over here reading The Spectator.
There is a difference between censorship of art and censorship of tasteless, crass, or offensive offensive for offensiveness' sake stuff. That's a really hard sentence to say. People have argued where this line lies for decades and will inevitably argue for decades to come. But for this discussion, the 1999 MPAA were unmoving in their convictions as to what was appropriate for young audiences. As I say, this stalemate lasted until 2 weeks before the film's release, at which point Stone and Parker had reached their limit. The movie's producer phoned a Paramount executive and apparently freaked out on them. Paramount worked with the MPAA, and the film was, despite not being altered again, finally dropped to an R rating. Maybe it had something to do with Paramount being a member of the MPAA, but Paramount denies this, so we'll leave it there. Unfortunately for Parker and Stone, the final cut of the movie does not feature the joke that I so alluded to earlier. After all this controversy, all this standing of grounds and refusal to compromise unless absolutely necessary, the joke was that Cartman's mum fucks a horse. The boys find fetish porn online in one scene, and it features Cartman's mum getting fucked by a horse. Now, according to Stone, the actual footage was neither very graphic nor very long, but the bestiality was the reason the movie got the NC-17 rating. Here's the thing, they didn't just cut the scene. They replaced it with a significantly longer scene where the boys find Cartman's mum in a German scat porn video eating shit.
Okie dokie.
So there we go. The MPAA got the scene removed. Parker and Stone still pushed boundaries and made content they can be proud of, and the movie went on to make nearly 4 times its budget. All told, a happy ending. Hell, it was even nominated for an Oscar. No, seriously. Remember, it's a musical, and one of its songs was nominated for Best Original Song.
From South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, Blame Canada, music and lyric by Trey Parker and Marc Shaman.
It lost to You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan, but still. But I know what you're here for. That memo. The infamous memo that Matt Stone sent to the MPAA. Enjoy the chaos, like and subscribe if you're new here. I'm trying to grow the channel, so I'd really appreciate it. And if you fancy tipping me on coffee so I can afford more Pepsi Max, then the link's in the description, but there's no pressure and no obligation. Anyway.
And I'm going to read the document now.
Okie dokie, let's read this thing.
Here is our new cut of the South Park movie to submit to the MPAA. I wanted to tell you exactly what notes we did and did not address.
We left in both the fisting and the rim job references in the counsellor's office scene.
We did cut the word hole from asshole, as per our conversation.
What the heck is a rim job? Oh, why, that's when you put your legs behind your head and have someone lick your ass.
We took out the entire God has fucked me in the ass so many times. It is gone.
It is gone. Although it is not animated yet.
We put a new storyboard in for clarification in the scene with Saddam Hussein's penis. The intent now is that you never see Saddam's real penis.
He is in fact using dildos. Both times.
We have the shot animated that reveals the fact Winona Ryder is not shooting ping pong balls to her vagina. She is in fact hitting the balls with a ping pong battle.
There, I didn't miss one! That's my ping pong ball trick!
We took out the only reference to cum-sucking ass in the film.
Cum sucking ass!
Eat penguin shit, you ass spelunker.
We left in the scenes with Cartman's mum and the horse, as per our conversation. This is the one joke we really want to fight for.
Call me with any questions, Matt. P.S. This is my favourite memo ever.
Mine too, perhaps.